Hello and welcome back to our second part in a video series this month on coping in a stress-filled world. I'm Dr. Mark Lindholm with Natural Health Family Chiropractic, and I'm so glad that you're taking the time to learn about this important topic. In this section, we're going to cover the effects of exercise on coping in a stress-filled world. So everyone knows that your body is designed to move. You might have even heard of the kind of catchphrase that movement is life. And this really is so important. I can't overestimate or over-exaggerate the importance of exercise if you really want to thrive and be healthy. And I mentioned in the last video series when we were talking about stress that stress is really a fight or flight mode, that when you're under stress, that your body's ready for action. So exercise is the natural fruition of that stress. As a matter of fact, what normally would happen is that we'd be in a stressful environment. Say you have to actually defend yourself if you're attacked by a wild animal. And so the changes that happen in your physiology, your heart rate speeding up, your adrenal glands kicking in, those things are designed to allow your body to survive. And so the natural fruition of that is that you would turn and run from that attacker, or you would actually defend yourself. You'd actually physically be using your body. So it just makes sense that we look at the way that our body is designed, that exercise is a natural way to burn off that stress, to actually resolve the stress, so to speak, and to physiologically return your body back to that normal state of physiology. So the U.S. Department of Health recommends at least an hour of exercise most days of the week just to stay healthy. The reality, though, is that many of us are deficient in this vital movement. And we don't often think about it that way. We think about being deficient in a nutrient or in a mineral, but the reality is that if you don't get enough movement, if you don't get enough exercise, your body just can't function correctly. And it's not just about strengthening your heart and your lungs, what most people think of when they think of exercise. It's actually even more important for strengthening your nervous system. You see, there's a huge part of the nervous system, fibers that come up through the spinal cord to the brain, that process something called proprioception, which not only controls balance and helps us to figure out where we are in space, but more importantly, that proprioceptive information actually brings the higher parts of the brain to threshold, the neocortex, and has a huge effect on things like learning and mood and coping with stress. So exercise is so important when we look at a strategy for coping with stress. Now I know what you're thinking. I don't have time to exercise. I'm already stressed out because I'm so busy I don't have enough time. How can I possibly add exercise? Well, there's a couple of important things to keep in mind. One is that the good news I have for you is that the research shows that it doesn't take a lot of exercise. There was actually a landmark study done where they took people that were under stress, actually under so much stress that they were being treated for depression and anxiety, and they split them into 3 groups. One group walked for 20 minutes 3 times a week. So an hour's worth of exercise for the whole week. The second group took antidepressants. And then the third group did both. And they followed them for 5 years. Not only to see how they coped, how their stress and anxiety and depression responded immediately, but how many relapses back into anxiety or depression did they have. And what they found was amazing, that the group that did the walking alone for an hour a week, so 20 minutes 3 times a week, had a better reduction in their stress and anxiety and fewer relapses back into stress and anxiety than the group that took medication, and even more than the group that did both together. So the take-home message is that exercise is really something that you need to incorporate into your life, but it doesn't have to be a lot of time, as I said. And I think another important aspect is to pick a kind of exercise that sounds fun to you. You know, I have patients come in and say things like, I started running because I really felt like I needed to run to get into shape or to lose weight, but I really hate running. And I often tell them, well, it's not going to work long term if you hate doing it because you're never going to consistently keep with it. So find a kind of exercise that you really enjoy. Maybe it's meeting a friend and going for a walk, again, 20 minutes 3 times a week. Or maybe it's working out with weights to tone your muscles and strengthen you. Maybe it's taking some kind of a group class, or even studying an art like studying dance or ballet or something like that. So there's so many different types of exercise, and actually there's a lot of benefits to cross-training, not only so that you don't get bored, but also so that you get the most out of exercise and working different parts of your body. I would say that the absolute best way to do it is to have some strength training, some cardiovascular exercise, and some more relaxation, stretching kind of exercise that is basically an active recovery period. So it could be cycling, it could be swimming. There's so many things to choose from. Really, you just want to find something that is enjoyable to you and something that you can do on a regular basis. So in the first two parts of our video series on coping in a stress-filled world, we've talked about two different strategies. The first one we mentioned was being adjusted regularly or being under chiropractic care to optimize the function of your nervous system and help you to thrive and cope in stressful situations. And then today we talked extensively about exercise and incorporating exercise into your life to add that to your strategy. So in the next couple sections, we're going to be talking next time about nutritional approaches to help you to cope with stress. And lastly, we're going to be talking about some stress reduction techniques and meditative kind of visualization techniques that you can do yourself. So please tune back in for the next two parts. And again, I'm Dr. Mark Lindholm with Natural Health Family Chiropractic. Thank you for listening.